Most people pack clothes and toiletries when they travel. I do that, but I also pack a spork, a collapsible cup, a mini griddle, and my little salt shaker. My husband says I look like I'm smuggling a dorm room into the hotel. But here's the thing, when you're away from home for nearly a week, eating out 3 times a day, the bill adds up fast. And this little kit of mine, it saves me hundreds. Sure, it looks a little ridiculous when I pull out my gear. Everyone else is door dashing a $25 breakfast sandwich, and I'm over here making scrambled eggs in my hotel room like some kind of budget chef. But you know what? It works. The truth is, I do a lot of things to save money that people might call over the top. The internet likes to label it toxic frugality. That fine line between being careful with your money and being just a little extreme. And my friend, I am definitely walking that line. Hello, my friend. My name is Sarah, owner of FrozenPennies.com. I'm a financial coach and the author of the international best-selling book, Fundamentally Frugal. Today, we're diving into the quirky, sometimes cringy ways I pinch pennies. The ones that make people shake their heads but secretly wonder if they should try them too. Let's start with hotel and travel hacks. We're gonna stick with that hotel theme for a minute. You know those little soaps that they leave in the bathroom? Most people may use them while they're there and toss them when they're done. Not me. I bring them home. Now let me be clear. I'm not the weirdo prying shampoo bottles off the wall or smuggling out the big giant conditioner pump. I'm talking about the tiny bars and the little travel-sized bottles they stock in your room. You already pay for them as part of your room rate, and most hotels will toss whatever's left behind straight into the trash when you check out anyway. So why not bring them home and give them a second life? Don't call me a soap thief. I don't have a trench coat filled with mini shampoos. I just know that these little bars are camping gold. They're the perfect size for a quick shower at the campground or for washing hands after a messy picnic. This summer and last summer, I didn't buy a single bar of soap for our camping trips. Not one. Those little freebies covered me and my family the whole season. And you know what? It's not just about camping. I've tossed a couple in my travel bag, slipped one in the glove compartment for emergencies, even given a little bundle to my son when he went on a weekend trip with friends. People might call it tacky. I call it brilliant because it works. Now let's pause for a second because I want to unpack those words I mentioned at the beginning. Toxic frugality. It's one of those buzzy internet phrases that get thrown around a lot, but what does it actually mean? At its core, frugality is about being intentional with your money. It's not about not spending, it's about spending with intention. It's about choosing where your dollars go instead of letting them slip through your fingers. But toxic frugality, that's when it tips into something extreme. When saving money becomes such an obsession that it starts hurting your health, your relationships, and honestly, your joy. Think of it this way. There's a big difference between stretching a chicken into 3 meals because you're being smart and skipping a doctor's appointment because you don't want to pay the copay. One saves you money and gives you peace of mind. The other risks your health in the name of pinching pennies. And that's where frugality turns toxic. Maybe you've seen this in yourself, or maybe you've watched someone else fall into the trap. It can look like compulsive penny pinching, driving 20 minutes out of your way to save a dime on gas, neglecting health and self-care, skipping dental cleaning or buying only the cheapest, least nutritious food, ignoring home or car maintenance, delaying a $100 repair until it becomes a $1,000 problem, hoarding possessions, holding on to everything just in case until your house feels more like a storage unit, feeling guilty about spending. Even a birthday dinner or a new pair of shoes feels wrong. Undervaluing time, spending hours to save a few cents when your energy could be used better elsewhere. Damaging relationships, arguing with family over the thermostat, splitting hairs over restaurant bills, or making loved ones feel judged for how they spend. Notice how all of these things come back to one thing. Money starts to run the show. Instead of being a tool that gives you freedom, it becomes this heavy weight you carry around. The biggest problem with toxic frugality is that it backfires. Sure, you might save a little bit here and there in the short term, but you often pay a bigger price later, financially, emotionally, and physically. That skip doctor's visit, it turns into a bigger health bill down the road. That old car you didn't maintain, it breaks down completely, costing thousands more. That constant guilt and anxiety, it chips away at your ability to actually enjoy the life you're working so hard to build. Frugality should feel empowering. It should create space in your budget and your mind. Toxic frugality does the opposite. It shrinks your world down until every decision feels heavy. Now here's the balance. Let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with being frugal. I'm the queen of stretching leftovers and reusing jars. Y'all know that. But I've also learned that saving money shouldn't mean suffering. It's all about balance. It's about knowing when good enough is good enough. And when spending a little bit more actually protects your health, your time, and your happiness. That's why I can laugh when people call my habits toxic, because while some of my tricks might look extreme, they don't cross the line into harmful. They don't make me sick, they don't hurt my relationships, and they don't rob me of joy. Instead, they give me options, and that's why real frugality is supposed to do. Now let's go back to our list. Kitchen and food repurposing. At home, I have a love affair with jars. Pasta sauce jars, pickle jars, salsa jars. If it's glass, it's mine. I wash them, I peel off the labels, and put them to work. Some hold beans and rice in the pantry, lined up neatly like something out of a magazine. Others get filled with leftovers in the fridge. Sometimes we even drink out of them. Then there are those little tomato sauce cups that come with my son's favorite Pids pinwheels. Every time they give away too much sauce. Most people toss it, but I can't. Into the freezer it goes. I collect them until I have enough to throw into a pot of chili. And let me tell you, nobody complains about chili night. My husband might roll his eyes at the pizza sauce stash, but he sure cleans his bowl. And don't even get me started on my freezer system. Everything gets frozen in flat Ziploc reusable bags. Beans, rice, soups, sauces. Then I stack them upright like files in a cabinet. It sort of looks like a little freezer library. It sounds a little obsessive, but it saves us countless dollars. I can see exactly what I have, I waste less, and I can pull out a homemade meal on a busy night instead of ordering takeout. Bread ends. Oh, those get saved too. Nobody likes them, so I collect them in a freezer bag. Once the bag is full, I let them go stale on the counter, then blitz them in the blender. Instant breadcrumbs. Why buy a $3 tub when you can make them free from what you'd throw away anyway? And here's one that might make me sound a little extreme. I stash emergency cash in the freezer, tucked into a bag of peas or wrapped in foil labeled salmon. Why? Because burglars aren't digging through your frozen veggies. It's my own quirky little safety net. Listen, this is just between you and I, okay? We wouldn't want this information getting out in the wrong hands. The magic of leftovers. Leftovers get a bad rap. People think they're boring or sad. Not me. I think of leftovers as a magic trick. A roasted chicken isn't just one meal in my house. It's like 3. Night 1, roast chicken with sides. Night 2, chicken salad sandwiches for lunch. Night 3, the bones get boiled into broth. That one bird stretches so far, and honestly, by the time you've made that soup, you feel like you got your money's worth over 100 times over. Veggie scraps get the same treatment. Onion ends, carrot peels, celery tops. Most people toss them in the trash. I toss them in a freezer bag. When it's full, I simmer them into homemade broth. The flavor is incredible. It costs nothing, and it feels so satisfying to know I squeezed every drop of value out of something most people never think twice about. And then there's the freezer soup. I'm sure you've heard me talk about this before. This is one of my mama's best tricks. Any tiny bit of leftovers that isn't enough for another meal, a spoonful of corn, a few bites of roasted potatoes, half a hamburger patty chopped up, it all goes into the freezer bowl. When the bowl's full, it becomes soup. Every batch is different. Every batch is free. Growing up, we never knew what it would taste like, but we always knew it wouldn't kill us. Water hacks. Here's one hill I'll die on. I do not buy bottled water unless it's an absolute emergency. I carry my reusable water bottle everywhere. I've had the same bottles for years, dented, scratched, worn, but they still work. One even lives permanently in my car for emergencies. Yeah, I own a Stanley cup because it was a gift, and yeah, it's cute. But do I need it? No. My trusty old water bottle works just fine. I've walked past coolers of $3 water bottles in airports without even flinching. People look at me like I'm stubborn, but honestly, it feels like robbery to pay for something that literally comes out of the tap for free. So I fill up at sinks, fountains, even the public bathroom if I have to. Do I look cheap? Maybe. Do I care? Not really, because I'd rather save the money for something that actually matters. Clothes and fabric hacks. In my house, clothes don't just retire, they go in what I call second life. Old t-shirts and socks become cleaning rags, dust cloths, even Swiffer replacements. I can't remember the last time I bought a pack of cleaning cloths because I just don't need them. Why would I spend money on something I'm literally going to throw away when I've got fabric right here ready to work? Growing up, if pants were too short but still fit, they got chopped into shorts. Easy fix. I can still picture my mom cutting off jeans at the kitchen table while reminding me, these will last you all summer. Did they look perfect? Nope. Did I wear them anyway? Absolutely. Millennials buy distressed jeans for $120. Gen X moms made distressed jeans by chopping the legs off at the kitchen table with sewing scissors. And here's one that always makes me laugh. I knew moms who would take labels off of old jeans and sew them onto thrifted ones so their kids could have Levi's. Imagine begging for brand names and getting a knockoff patch sewn onto your $3 Goodwill jeans. Did it fool anyone? Maybe. But for that kid, it meant that they could feel a little cooler without breaking the family budget. The point is, clothes aren't one and done in my world. They get reimagined, reshaped, reused until there's nothing left but scraps. And then, of course, those scraps become rags. Full circle. Home and utility savings. Now let's move around the house. I am the unplug police. If it's not being used, it's unplugged. Coffee maker, unplugged. Chargers, definitely unplugged. Toaster ovens, nope. Not anymore. Did you know that toaster ovens still make that tick, tick, tick noise even when they're unplugged to make you think they're still plugged in? So you have no idea that it's unplugged until you don't smell your toast and realize it's been 10 minutes. My husband was not impressed with my efforts to save electricity. Phantom energy is real. Those little trickles of electricity add up. And when the bill comes in lower, I feel like I've won. Gas is another place where I get a little intense. I plan my errands in loops so I'm not wasting miles driving back and forth. If I need to go to the grocery store, the pharmacy, and the post office, I map it out like I'm running a mission. One loop, no wasted gas, batching all errands into one day. And then heating. Let's just say my thermostat and I have a love-hate relationship. There used to be a time in the winter where we bundle up in sweaters and blankets before I even consider turning up the heat. I used to think, why pay to heat the whole house when you can make a single room cozy and spend your evening there? But honestly, I don't want to live like that anymore. I want to be warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Now, I still have a love-hate relationship with the thermostat, but these days, it's because being comfortable comes at such a cost. Eating out hacks. Restaurants are another place where I lean into what some would call toxic frugality. I've been known to split an entree. The portions are ridiculous anyway, so why order two? We'll order one meal, ask for an extra plate, and boom, $20 saved. And neither of us leaves hungry. Sometimes we'll even order just 2 appetizers. 2 apps usually cost less than 2 entrees, and it feels like a treat without the bill at the end giving me a heart attack. And if it's a place where bread or chips come free, you better believe I'm making a little bit of a meal out of those before my food even hits the table. Who doesn't love fresh bread? And whatever doesn't get eaten, well, that's coming home. Now, do I feel cheap sometimes? Maybe. But let me tell you, the number of times we've eaten out for half the price other couples are paying makes it worth every side eye from the waiter. And at the very end of the day, I'd rather have the money in my pocket than another styrofoam takeout box food we probably won't finish. Scraping the last bits. Let's talk about jars. Mayo, peanut butter, jelly. When you think it's empty, it's not. I've got a trusty spatula that gets every last bit out. Sometimes I'll add a splash of vinegar to mayo and shake it up. Suddenly it's salad dressing. Or I'll pour a little water into a pasta sauce jar, give it a little shake, and boom, an extra serving of sauce that goes in the pot. People laugh when they see me do this, but honestly, it's one of my favorite little hacks. It's not about being stingy, it's about respecting what you paid for. You spent money on that jar. Why throw away perfectly good food just because it's inconvenient, takes a little time to scrape a little? This not only goes for food, but toothpaste, shampoo, lotions, all of the above. I grew up watching my mom do this, and I'll probably pass it down to my kids and grandkids, whether they like it or not, because those little scrapes add up. So yeah, maybe these habits sound a little extreme, but they've saved me thousands of dollars over the years. And it's not just about the money. It's about being resourceful, mindful, and refusing to let good things go to waste. This isn't about soap or breadcrumbs or water bottles. It's about living with intention, because every time you don't waste $1, You get to decide where that dollar goes instead, toward your retirement, your kids, your freedom. People laugh. They call it cheap or stingy. They call it toxic. I call it freedom. Because every dollar I don't waste is a dollar I get to invest in the life I actually want. And when I think back to that little meal prep travel kit, I pack it really sums it up. A little planning, a little creativity, and a willingness to look silly can save you a whole lot of cash. So the next time someone rolls their eyes at you for reusing a gift bag or freezing pizza sauce cups, just smile, because you know the secret. Frugality isn't toxic, it's powerful. And if this video spoke to you, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and watch this video next.